Now, a little over a week ago, David Stern was literally fighting for his life after being shot by a Palestinian terrorist while driving through the West Bank town of Huwara with his wife, Rachel. Both their lives were saved when Stern, an American immigrant to Israel and a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, managed to pull out his own weapon and fire back at his attacker and then bandage his own wounds. The Sterns moved to Israel from the U.S. in 2005 and live in the U.S settlement, where he trains other members of his community in self-defense. Earlier, I spoke with David Stern as he recuperates at home about his experience and the issue of security. David Stern, thank you for joining us on I-24 News. First of all, let me just ask you, how are you feeling? How is your recovery going?
Thank you very much. I'm feeling great. The recovery is going very well, very smoothly. All that I have left, the only injury I really have now is a broken bone in my arm.
All right, that's great to hear. Listen, bring us back to that night in Huwara. How did it unfold for you? I mean, how you're there, you're in the car. Just take us from that point.
Yeah. So I was driving with my wife towards Jerusalem, and we got to a traffic circle. And there was someone standing in the traffic circle crossing the road. I stopped for him to cross the road. And that was the terrorist. He started crossing in front of the car. Noticed that he was hiding one of his hands from view in an awkward way. I immediately felt in my gut that this is a terrorist. I put my hand on my pistol, and I was waiting. I didn't see the gun, so I waited. The moment he turned and brought the gun up, I drew my pistol, and we started firing almost at the same time at each other.
Right. Were you aware of yourself being hit? Were you thinking of your wife, Rachel, I believe, who was sitting beside you? What were your thoughts at that time?
So the truth is that during the shooting itself, I had no thoughts. I just went into combat mode. My instincts were running the show, and I had no thoughts at all. But the moment the shooting stopped, I moved the car up a couple of 100 meters out of that area, and immediately my thoughts went to my wife.
Right. Now, you saw she was uninjured, I believe, in it, but I guess feeling some shock. But you began to treat yourself. I mean, you understood you were wounded. Talk about that.
Yes. Yeah, I immediately felt that I was wounded. I took out a tourniquet. I put a tourniquet on my right arm, and that saved my life. And I felt that I had some kind of head wound. So I had a combat dressing, and I put pressure on that head wound.
Right. Let me ask you, you said your instinct right away was that this was a terrorist. You are a former Marine. You obviously had some serious training in weapons use. Do you think basically that saved your life? Would any other person have been able to right away discern this could be a dangerous situation and I have to react?
Yeah, I have no doubt that my training saved my life. Whether other people could do it or not, I don't know. But there's no question that I'm glad that I had the training that I did.
Right. Now you're in hospital. Tell us about some of the reactions that you got after news went out that you had been shot.
So I was not conscious for the first night, just during the initial medical intervention and surgery. I woke up the following morning, and I was in shock. First of all, at the attention of God and the amount of people that came to visit me in the hospital. It was pretty incredible, very heartwarming.
Now, David, you've had security, obviously, with your expertise. I know that you also have been involved in your community in giving them, I guess, firearms training and security training. Let's talk a bit about security. That the town of Huwara has become very problematic. There's been a lot of talk about what to do there. Some of it controversial, some of it saying that we have to do something. Israel has to do something about the terror attacks there. Yeah. From a security standpoint, what do you have to say about that, or your recommendation on that?
Yeah, look, ultimately the bypass road is the true solution, and that bypass road has to be pushed forward very quickly. Until that's done, I think that there are many steps that have to be taken even if they are a bit controversial, because I feel that human life comes first and foremost. I think the checkpoints have to be reinstated. You know, this terrorist wasn't from Huwara. He came from a local village. He was able to travel freely. He knows that Israelis pass there, and it's an easy spot to do an attack. I think the situation that these terrorists can move freely the way that they do without being checked, that's something which can't continue. Other than that, I think the only solution is to, keep adding more forces to the area, flood the area with forces, and hopefully push that bypass road as quickly as possible.
Right. Let me ask you, you're from New York, actually. You grew up in Far Rockaway in Long Island, actually the town next to where I did. You came, I believe, in 2005. Talk about what brought you to Israel, and did you anticipate the possibility that you might be facing life-threatening situations there? Coming here with your wife, you have, I think, a few children. Maybe just talk about that a bit.
Yeah, I grew up in a very Zionistic family in New York, and they planted that seed in me as a kid. And I decided that to live in Israel was something that I really wanted. So in 2004 to Israel, and I absolutely, thought about something like this happening. I knew it could happen, no question about it.
And the fact that it did, does that make you rethink it all, your original thoughts, or what is your reaction on a mental level to what happened?
Growing up, living where I live here, many of my friends and neighbors have gone through attacks over the years, and it's always in the back of our minds that it could be us. It does not change my resolve in any way. In fact, it only strengthens my resolve that we have to be here, and we're doing a great thing by being here.
All right. David Stern, we wish you, of course, a full and speedy recovery, or refuah shlema. And, of course, with the Pesach holiday season, we also wish you a happy and healthy Passover.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.